Illinois Real Estate Exam Prep Questions. Question 1. A listing broker learns of an unpermitted bedroom conversion before a buyer submits an offer. How should the issue generally be treated in an Illinois exam scenario during Riley's Moline Lakefront Cottage file review? Option A. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. Option B. It may be hidden if the seller requests silence. Option C. It is never relevant once the property is listed as minus is. Option D. It must be disclosed only after the buyer obtains a loan. The correct answer is option A. A known material fact should be disclosed rather than concealed. Known material facts can affect a buyer's decision and should not be concealed. A seller's request, and as minus is label, or the timing of financing does not eliminate the broker's duty to avoid misrepresentation and disclose material information. Question 2. A commercial tenant pays base rent plus a share of property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Which lease type is most likely being described during Avery's Quincy Suburban Ranch Home File Review? Option A. Gross lease. Option B. Net lease. Option C. Ground lease only. Option D. Life estate. The correct answer is option B. Net lease. A net lease shifts some or all operating expenses to the tenant in addition to base rent. A gross lease usually places expenses primarily on the landlord. A ground lease concerns land rental, and a life estate is an ownership interest rather than a lease minus payment structure. Question 3. Annual property taxes are $3,120, and the seller owes the buyer a credit for 86 days using a 365-day year. Approximately how large is the credit during Cameron's Waukegan Commercial Suite File Review? Option A. $260. Option B. $9. Option C. $735. Option D. $1,470. The correct answer is option C. $735. Daily proration divides $3,120 by 365 and multiplies by 86 days, giving about $735. The other choices use 1 month, 1 day only, or double the required prorated period.
Stressed about your AccuPlacer exam? We can take AccuPlacer exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done.
Question 4. A residential seller in Illinois knows about past unsafe electrical wiring but leaves the disclosure report blank. What concept is most directly tested during Drew's Belleville Farm Parcel File Review? Option A. The buyer's duty to ignore all seller statements. Option B. The lender's exclusive duty to inspect the property. Option C. The appraiser's authority to waive statutory disclosures. Option D. The seller's disclosure obligations for known material defects. The correct answer is option D. The seller's disclosure obligations for known material defects. Illinois residential disclosure rules focus on the seller's disclosure of known material defects. Buyers still may inspect, but that does not make seller disclosure meaningless. Lenders and appraisers do not waive statutory disclosure duties. Question 5. A settlement service provider offers a broker a hidden referral fee for steering buyers to that provider. Which federal concern is most likely during Hayden's Chicago single-family home file review? Option A. RESPA restrictions on kickbacks and unearned fees. Option B. Fixture classification. Option C. Adverse possession. Option D. The rectangular survey system. The correct answer is option A. RESPA restrictions on kickbacks and unearned fees. RESPA addresses prohibited kickbacks and unearned fees involving settlement services. Fixtures, adverse possession, and land survey systems are unrelated to hidden settlement minus service referral payments. Question 6. A listing closes at $480,000 with a brokerage fee of 4.0%. What total commission is generated before any split? Option A. $9,600. Option B. $19,200. Option C. $24,000. Option D. $4,800. The correct answer is option B. $19,200. Commission is calculated by multiplying the sale price by the commission rate. $480,000 times 4% equals $19,200. The distractors divide the commission, use the wrong percentage, or calculate only 1% of the price. Question 7. Cameron receives $3,750 in earnest money and places it in a personal checking account for convenience. Which trust minus account problem is illustrated? Option A. A lawful automatic conversion of escrow funds into commission. Option B. A required method for handling every earnest money deposit. Option C. Commingling client funds with personal funds. Option D. A title defect that is cured by recording a deed. The correct answer is option C. Commingling client funds with personal funds. Client or customer funds such as earnest money must be handled through the appropriate special or trust account process. Putting the money into a personal checking account is commingling. It is not automatic commission, not the required method, and not a title minus recording issue. Question 8. A buyer includes an attorney review contingency in a purchase agreement. What is the main purpose of that clause during Alex's Naperville townhome file review? Option A. It automatically gives the broker ownership of the property. Option B. It removes the need for mutual assent. Option C. It makes all deadlines meaningless. Option D. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. The correct answer is option D. It gives the party a contractual condition that must be satisfied or waived under the agreement. A contingency creates a condition that can affect whether the parties must proceed or may terminate under stated terms. It does not transfer ownership to the broker, replace mutual assent, or eliminate all contractual deadlines. Are you looking for Illinois real estate exam actual questions? Visit our website pokerexams.com to access Illinois real estate exam study guide with actual questions and answers. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get Illinois real estate exam answer key today. Question 9. A seller receives $300,000 at closing, pays off a $80,000 mortgage, and pays $8,000 in seller closing costs. What are the approximate net proceeds during Blair's Rockford small apartment building file review? Option A, $212,000. Option B, $220,000. Option C, $292,000. Option D, $88,000. The correct answer is option A, $212,000. Seller net proceeds subtract the loan payoff and seller costs from the sale price. $300,000 minus $80,000 minus $8,000 equals $212,000. The other answers omit one deduction or add deductions instead of subtracting them from the sale price. Question 10. A sponsoring broker is asked to produce special account records during a regulatory review. Which practice best supports compliance during Quinn's Bloomington mixed-use storefront file review? Option A, deleting old deposit records once the closing occurs. Option B, maintaining complete transaction and trust minus account records that can be examined when required. Option C, keeping records only in the salesperson's personal email. Option D, combining all clients into one undocumented cash envelope. The correct answer is option B, maintaining complete transaction and trust minus account records that can be examined when required. Regulators may examine records to verify compliant handling of funds and transactions. Deleting records, relying only on a personal email, or using an undocumented cash envelope undermines record retention and auditability. Question 11. A contract identifies land using a lot and block description. Why are legal descriptions tested separately from street addresses during Sydney's Champaign vacant lot file review? Option A, street addresses are always more legally precise. Option B, legal descriptions are used only for personal property. Option C, a legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Option D, a legal description replaces the need for a seller's signature. The correct answer is option C. A legal description is intended to identify the parcel with greater legal precision than a mailing address. Legal descriptions identify the land for conveyance and title purposes, while street addresses are often practical but less precise. They apply to real property, not personal property, and they do not replace signature and contract requirements. Question 12. A small rental property has annual net operating income of $39,000 and an indicated capitalization rate of 10%. What value is suggested by the income approach during Logan's Joliet rental duplex file review? Option A, $3,900. Option B, $195,000. Option C, a different result not supported by the facts. 3. Option D, $390,000. The correct answer is option D, $390,000. The income approach using direct capitalization divides NOI by the capitalization rate. $39,000 divided by 10% equals about $390,000. The other answers multiply by the rate, treat the percent as a whole number, or cut the indicated value in half. Question 13. Kendall signs a non-exclusive buyer brokerage agreement and later asks why the writing matters. Which answer best fits exam-tested brokerage agreement principles during Kendall's Aurora Lakefront Cottage file review? Option A, written terms help define services, compensation, duration, and the parties' obligations. Option B, a brokerage agreement eliminates all disclosure duties. Option C, oral promises always replace signed terms. Option D, a brokerage agreement transfers legal title to the broker. The correct answer is option A. Written terms help define services, compensation, duration, and the parties' obligations. Brokerage agreements define key business terms and help avoid disputes about services and compensation. They do not eliminate disclosure duties. Oral promises generally do not automatically replace signed terms, and the agreement does not convey title to the broker. Question 14. A tenant with a disability requests a reasonable accommodation to use the rental property. How should the property manager analyze the request during Harper's Evanston Suburban Ranch Home File Review? Option A, deny every accommodation to keep rules identical. Option B, evaluate whether the request is reasonable and necessary for equal use and enjoyment of the housing. Option C, approve only accommodations requested by owners. Option D, treat the request as an automatic eviction notice. The correct answer is option B. Evaluate whether the request is reasonable and necessary for equal use and enjoyment of the housing. Fair housing analysis considers whether an accommodation is reasonable and related to the tenant's disability-related needs. Blanket denial, owner-only approval standards, or treating the request as eviction would conflict with the purpose of accommodation rules. Question 15. A property is worth $349,000 and has a loan balance of $93,000. Approximately how much equity does the owner have during Jamie's Oak Park Commercial Suite file review? Option A, $442,000. Option B, $93,000. Option C, $256,000. Option D, $279,200. The correct answer is option C, $256,000. Equity is the property's value minus debt secured by the property, so $349,000 minus $93,000 equals $256,000. The distractors add debt, report the loan balance, or use an unsupported percentage of value. Question 16. A sponsored licensee uses the team name River City Team in advertising. Which compliance concern should be checked first during Rowan's Decatur Farm Parcel File Review? Option A, whether the team can operate without a sponsoring broker. Option B, whether the team name creates automatic title insurance. Option C, whether the team may set commission rates with competitors. Option D, whether the team name and ad clearly avoid misleading consumers about the sponsoring brokerage. The correct answer is option D. Whether the team name and ad clearly avoid misleading consumers about the sponsoring brokerage. Team advertising must be clear enough that consumers are not misled about the brokerage relationship and sponsorship. A team does not replace the sponsoring broker, create title insurance, or justify antitrust violations. Question 17. Harper is comparing loan terms and closing disclosures. Which federal lending framework is commonly tested with residential mortgage transactions? Option A, TRID and related TILA-RESPA disclosure rules. Option B, the statute of descent and distribution. Option C, the rule against perpetuities only. Option D, a zoning variance issued by the City Council. The correct answer is option A, TRID and related TILA-RESPA disclosure rules. Residential mortgage questions often test TILA, RESPA, and integrated TRID disclosures that help borrowers compare costs and terms. The other choices deal with inheritance, property-law doctrines, or land-use approvals rather than consumer mortgage disclosure. Question 18. A business offers to find apartments for renters in exchange for a fee. Why might Illinois licensing law be implicated during Casey's Normal 2-flat building file review? Option A, rental-finding services are always exempt regardless of activity. Option B, rental-finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Option C, only sellers can trigger licensing law. Option D, the service becomes legal if no written records are kept. The correct answer is option B. Rental-finding services can involve regulated real estate activity when performed for compensation. Rental-finding and leasing-related services may be regulated when performed for compensation. The activity is not automatically exempt, licensing law is not limited to sales, and failing to keep records does not cure an unlicensed activity issue. Stressed about your Illinois real estate exam? We can take Illinois real estate exam for you remotely and undetected. We always guarantee a pass and payments only after results. To send us an email, scan the code or tap the link in the description and let's get it done. Question 19. A property manager named Casey collects rents, screens tenants, arranges maintenance, and accounts for owner funds. Which duty is most central? Option A, guaranteeing that every tenant will renew. Option B, commingling all rents with personal funds. Option C, managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Option D, ignoring fair housing laws during screening. The correct answer is option C, managing the property in the owner's interest while properly accounting for funds and records. Property managers owe duties tied to the management agreement, owner instructions, legal compliance, and accurate accounting. They cannot guarantee renewals, commingle funds, or ignore fair housing requirements while screening tenants. Question 20. A consumer asks why a state real estate recovery fund might exist. Which purpose is closest during Taylor's Galesburg townhome file review? Option A, guaranteeing every buyer a profit on resale. Option B, paying all ordinary home repairs after closing. Option C, replacing the need for broker licensing. Option D, providing a limited source of recovery for certain losses caused by licensee misconduct when statutory requirements are met. The correct answer is option D, providing a limited source of recovery for certain losses caused by licensee misconduct when statutory requirements are met. Recovery funds are designed as limited consumer-protection remedies for qualifying misconduct-related losses. They do not guarantee investment profit, pay routine repairs, or replace licensing and discipline systems. Question 21. A broker representing Cameron receives confidential negotiating information. Which duty is most directly triggered? Option A, protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Option B, revealing all confidential strategy to the opposing party. Option C, changing the purchase price without permission. Option D, ignoring lawful client instructions. The correct answer is option A, protecting confidential information unless disclosure is authorized or legally required. Agency and brokerage duties include protecting confidential information while also making required disclosures. Revealing strategy, changing terms without authority, or ignoring lawful instructions would violate core client-service duties. Question 22. Drew has completed high school and wants a first Illinois broker license after finishing coursework in Aurora. Which education path most directly satisfies the standard broker pre-license requirement during Avery's Quincy mixed-use storefront file review? Option A. Only a 15-hour leasing agent course. Option B. 60 hours of broker pre-license topics plus 15 hours of interactive applied real estate principles. Option C. 45 hours of managing broker education without broker coursework. Option D. A continuing education course completed after licensure. The correct answer is option B. 60 hours of broker pre-license topics plus 15 hours of interactive applied real estate principles. Illinois broker candidates in the standard path complete 75 class hours made up of 60 hours of broker topics and 15 hours of interactive applied principles. A leasing course is for residential leasing agents, managing broker education is a different license path, and continuing education applies after licensure rather than before the broker exam. Question 23. A study question asks whether an interest is fee simple. What is the candidate being tested on during Cameron's Waukegan vacant lot file review? Option A. The amount of commission owed to the broker. Option B. The mortgage interest rate. Option C. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. Option D. The required size of a residential disclosure form. The correct answer is option C. The nature and duration of rights held in real property. Estates and land describe the nature and duration of property rights. Commission, loan interest rates, and disclosure minus form size are separate topics and do not define the estate itself. Question 24. Avery failed one portion of the Illinois broker licensing exam several times during the eligibility period. After the fourth unsuccessful attempt, what must happen before testing again during Drew's Belleville rental duplex file review? Option A. The candidate may immediately test an unlimited number of times. Option B. Only the national portion must be retaken without additional education. Option C. The candidate automatically receives a leasing agent license. Option D. The candidate must retake the required broker pre-license education before retesting. The correct answer is option D. The candidate must retake the required broker pre-license education before retesting. Illinois exam rules allow broker candidates up to 4 attempts during the eligibility period. After a fourth failed attempt, the candidate must complete the required pre-license education again before retaking the examination. Unlimited attempts, partial automatic exemptions, and automatic licensure are not supported. Question 25. A buyer wants to operate a retail shop in a residentially zoned property in Bloomington. Which issue should be investigated before closing during Hayden's Chicago Lakefront Cottage file review? Option A. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Option B. Whether the deed automatically changes zoning. Option C. Whether the broker can override the ordinance. Option D. Whether title insurance guarantees business income. The correct answer is option A. Whether zoning permits the intended use or whether an approval such as a variance is needed. Zoning controls land use, so the buyer's intended use must be permitted or approved through the proper local process. A deed, broker preference, or title insurance policy does not automatically change zoning or guarantee business income.